All right, let's go.
Number 8, we reply to the wrong signal. In 2020, astrobiologist Kelly Smith and John Traffigan published their recommended first contact protocol in a peer-reviewed paper. Their conclusion was direct. First, do nothing. Not because they were being cautious, because replying to a signal immediately gives away your location. Returning a message confirms you are here. Before replying, if ever, they argued we need to establish globally coordinated protocols through the UN, analyze the signal for years, and never respond in a way that pinpoints Earth's precise position. We have no such protocol in place, no binding international agreement, no UN resolution that covers the scenario with enforcement. If a signal was detected tomorrow, the response would almost certainly be determined by whoever detected it first. A single observatory, a single country, a single researcher who decides to reply before consulting anyone. The Arecibo message in 1974 was beamed toward M13, a globular cluster 25,000 light-years away, by astronomers at a ceremony without any global consultation. A unilateral decision that announced Earth's existence, our mathematical understanding, our biology, our physical location, and our technology level to whatever might be listening in that direction. We gave away our address before we agreed on whether we should.
Number 7. The signal itself is the weapon. We assume a signal from space is a message waiting to be decoded. That assumption may be the most dangerous one we ever make. In 1983, computer scientist David Langford wrote a short story called Blit, describing a pattern that, when perceived by a human brain, caused instant fatal cognitive collapse. A theoretical concept, but the science it points to is real. Perception is computation. Complex patterns processed by neural systems can produce effects the system was not designed to handle. In 2015, Stephen Wolfram formally proposed a version of this concern. A sufficiently advanced civilization could encode a signal not as a greeting, but as a program, an instruction set designed to be decoded by any civilization advanced enough to receive it, and in decoding it, trigger a specific outcome. Whether that outcome is benign, parasitic, or catastrophic depends entirely on the sender's intention. We would not know the difference until it was too late. You cannot know a program is malicious before you run it. You cannot know a signal is a weapon before you process it. The moment of first contact and the moment of harm could be identical.
Number 6. Biological contamination in both directions. When Europeans arrived in the Americas in the 15th century, they brought pathogens against which indigenous populations had no immunity. An estimated 90% of the indigenous population died within a century of contact, not from warfare, mostly from disease. Pathogens carried by people who felt completely healthy. Now scale that to interstellar biology. Any life that evolved on a different world evolved under a different biochemistry, in a different atmosphere, with different microbial ecology. A microorganism that has spent billions of years evolving in those conditions, encountering Earth biology for the first time, would be operating in a completely novel environment. It has no natural predators here, no co-evolved immune responses, no ecological constraints built up over geological time. It could thrive in ways it never could at home. Or it could be completely inert. We have no way to know before contact. The same risk applies in reverse. Anything we send to another world carries Earth biology. Curiosity and Perseverance were sterilized before launch, but not to the standard required to guarantee biological isolation. We have already sent microbes to Mars. Whether they survived is unknown. Any physical first contact, any exchange of material, any physical artifact, any ship that enters a shared atmosphere carries this risk. There is no quarantine protocol that eliminates it. There is only the degree to which it is managed. And on a galactic scale, nobody has ever managed to think through what managing it actually requires.
Number 5. The Dark Forest. Liu Cixin's dark forest hypothesis is not science fiction in the way people think of science fiction. It is a formal game theory argument applied to civilizations. The premises are civilizations need resources. Resources are finite. You cannot verify another civilization's long-term intentions. A civilization that is friendly today could become hostile in 1,000 years as its resource needs change. Given this uncertainty, the rational strategy for a sufficiently advanced civilization encountering another is preemptive elimination before the other civilization grows powerful enough to pose a threat. Not out of malice, out of logic. The same logic that drives arms races and preemptive military strikes between human nations scaled to the civilizational level. In April 2024, Oxford University Press published a paper in The Monist in which Karim Jabari argued this creates a Hobbesian trap following contact, where mutual distrust could move two players into a mutual first strike, a risk-dominant equilibrium, a mutual first strike. The counter-argument, also in the academic literature, is that if many civilizations exist, the presence of multiple parties makes pure preemptive destruction less rational. A galaxy with many civilizations may develop something resembling deterrence. But if civilizations are rare and we are the only two for hundreds of light years in every direction, the calculus changes. We do not know which scenario we are in, and we cannot know until contact is already made.
Number 4. They are not hostile. They are indifferent, and that is worse. The scenarios that get the most attention are hostile ones. An alien civilization that wants to destroy us or take our resources. These are the dramatic scenarios. They are also arguably not the most frightening. Consider the alternative. A civilization advanced enough to cross interstellar space or to exist long enough to be detectable across stellar distances is almost certainly far beyond us technologically. The gap between us and them may be comparable to the gap between humans and ants. When humans build a highway, we do not go to war with the ant colonies it displaces. We do not negotiate with them. We do not explain our plans. We do not acknowledge that the disruption to their ecosystem is occurring. Their existence is simply irrelevant to our decision-making process. A civilization thousands or millions of years more advanced than us, pursuing some goal we do not understand and cannot detect, mining asteroids, restructuring stellar systems, deploying engineering projects at scales we have no framework for comprehending, could alter or end Earth's habitability as a side effect. No malice, no declaration of war, no recognition that anything worth considering was present. The most dangerous alien civilization may be one that simply doesn't notice us. Number 3. Cultural and psychological collapse. We have a real-world test case for what happens when a technologically superior civilization makes contact with a less advanced one. The historical record of colonialism is consistent and unambiguous. Even when the contact was not explicitly violent, the arrival of a more technologically advanced culture was catastrophic for the less advanced one. Language displaced, religious systems dismantled or absorbed, economic structures rendered obsolete overnight, social hierarchies dissolved, identities reformatted around the needs and norms of the arriving culture. The less advanced civilization does not simply receive new technology, it loses the internal framework by which it organized its existence. This happens between human cultures that are broadly comparable in cognitive architecture, biochemistry, and evolutionary history. We share the same base hardware. We still could not absorb the contact without catastrophic disruption. An alien civilization, whose cognitive architecture, values, and conceptual framework are genuinely alien, not metaphorically alien, but evolved under different physics, different evolutionary pressures, different sensory environments, would present humanity with a conceptual framework so different that no existing human religion, philosophy, economic system, or political structure would have any prepared response. Research by psychologist Jennifer Ouellette and colleagues found that even the mere confirmation of extraterrestrial microbial life, no intelligence, no contact, just confirmed non-Earth biology, would produce measurable psychological disruption in a significant fraction of the human population. The full contact scenario has no analog in human psychological history.
We have no framework for it. Every existing framework we would reach for was built without accounting for it. Number 2. We already sent the address. The Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecraft were launched in 1977. Both carry golden records, 12-inch gold-plated copper discs containing sounds and images selected to represent Earth. Greetings in 55 languages, music, scientific diagrams, the location of Earth relative to 14 pulsars, enough information to triangulate our solar system's exact position. The records also contain a return address, a diagram of Earth's location from multiple reference points. Voyager 1 is currently approximately 24 billion kilometers from Earth, over 160 astronomical units, moving at 17 kilometers per second. It will take approximately 40,000 years to reach another star system. Carl Sagan, who designed the records, was one of the most thoughtful scientists of his era on the question of alien contact. He believed optimistically in the benevolent nature of civilizations advanced enough to receive us. Not every scientist agreed. Stephen Hawking stated explicitly in 2010 that advanced alien life, if it exists, may operate much as humans have, looking to conquer and colonize. He said contact with an advanced civilization could be catastrophic in the same way Columbus's arrival was catastrophic for indigenous Americans. The records are already out there. Voyager 1 is already in interstellar space. There is no recall. There is no intercept. Humanity voted on whether to send the address without holding a vote. The decision was made by a small committee of scientists and NASA administrators in the 1970s. Everyone alive on Earth today inherited that decision. Number 1, we have no plan. This is the most disturbing thing on this list. Not a theory, a fact. There is no binding international protocol for how to respond to confirmed alien contact. The International Academy of Astronautics issued SETI post-detection protocols, guidelines, not laws, with no enforcement mechanism. They state that any confirmed detection should be reported to the UN Secretary-General and announced publicly. They do not specify what comes after that. They do not cover METI, active messaging, at all. The UN Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space has discussed the issue. No resolution with binding authority has been adopted. Astrobiologists Kelly Smith and John Traffigan, writing in 2020, recommended that humanity's first response to confirmed contact should be to do nothing immediately and convene a globally representative deliberative body to decide how to respond. The process of forming that body, reaching consensus, and acting on it would take years, possibly decades. During that time, the entity on the other end of the contact, whatever it is, wherever it came from, however powerful it is, would be waiting for a response, or acting, or not noticing us at all. We have been broadcasting for 100 years. We have sent 2 physical packages with our address into interstellar space. We have no plan for what happens if someone receives any of it. We have not agreed on who speaks for Earth. We have not agreed on what to say. We have not agreed on what counts as a threat. We have not agreed on what counts as an opportunity. The first contact scenario, the most consequential event in human history if it occurs, has no protocol, no chain of command, no decision-making structure, no consensus on first principles. 8 ways first contact goes wrong. Replying before thinking, a signal that is itself a weapon. Biology from another world meeting biology it has never encountered. A civilization that eliminates threats by logic rather than malice. A civilization so far beyond us that our existence is beneath its notice. A cultural and psychological framework that shatters on contact with something genuinely alien. A return address in interstellar space with no recall option. And a species that has been announcing itself to the universe for a century with no plan for the response. The universe may be full of civilizations, or it may be empty. We do not know which, but we have already made our choice. We are not hiding. We have been announcing ourselves since the first radio transmission left Earth in the late 19th century. Every year, that sphere of electromagnetic noise expands by 1 light-year. Whatever is out there has been getting our signal for over 100 years. Whether they are listening, whether they care, whether they are coming, we will find out when they decide to tell us. Subscribe to Cosmic Hives. See you in the next one.